put a hole in this so that it would be a slow leak. I mean, maybe it's not afford it for the first hole. Put a hole right there. This is supposed to be at my battery. That's supposed to be at the battery. No, but it's not like during the day, so the grounding rod won't work.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Another glorious day here on our little piece of land. Welcome back to Nine Little Aussies. It's good to have you with us. I am been out early wandering around. Look, I've got some more babies. Now, Gracie discovered that these little guys had come up, and this tray I had accidentally left sitting on top of this one, so they're looking a little anemic, but the sun will soon fix that. These are more little baby peppers. We're sitting on top of this tray with the lavender, and I'm wondering, I don't know if you can see, do you see that tiny little shoots right there? I wonder if this is chamomile finally coming up after so long. And the marigolds have poked up their wee little heads. Over here, some more marigolds. Maybe a little bit of oregano. So that is exciting. And in this bed, we had a friend here this morning who was having a look around, and he said, so what have you got in this bed? And I said, well, what I remember is the eggplants and the jalapenos and the leeks. There's a few capsicums, there's a few different herbs, rockets, strawberries. But I've planted so many things in here and I didn't label it, and I don't really know. So we shall see when it comes up. So one of my goals for today is to do some flower garden planting. I'm going to do some in pots. I've been given, or we've collected out of things that have been thrown away, a bunch of hanging pots. And I've got some of these, this big one here, which has a drain hole in the side, not the bottom, but I think that might be good because it gets so hot here. I'm going to do a container garden in that one, which Gracie is very excited about. And she just loves flowers. She adores them. And I'm the same. I do love flowers. I actually think all of the plants, you know, from tomato seedlings up to the eggplants, I love all of them. They're beautiful. I can see the beauty in all of them. But there is something particularly capturing and mesmerizing about flowers. And I think I love having the width and the breadth of the garden, from the herbs, the vegetables, and the flowers. It's just so much richness of beauty there. But I would love some flowers to grow out the front. There's some hooks already on the front veranda, so I want to hang some pots out there. This one, of course, won't be hanging, but that is my goal for today. Right, this big pot, just put some straw, spent hay in the bottom. Some of this bed where I mulched it was just mulched a little too deeply. So I've just taken some of that to put in the bottom of the pot, which just will fill up a little bit of space because it's a really big pot, so that I'm not using quite as much potting mix. I have a little bit of this potting mix left. It is a little while later and I'm sitting out here with my second cup of coffee, and I'm going to sow into this tub. Like I said, this little picture here, I'm going to sort of try and layer it like this. Haven't done that before, but that'll be fun. So we'll pop the Sweet Alice around the outside, I guess, then the Blue Enchantment, and then in the middle the lupines. I think they're lupines. Larkspur. Maybe they're different to lupines actually. Yeah, they are. Yeah, I haven't grown those before, so we shall see. It's actually warming up out here. It was beautiful and cool this morning. Just so lovely. I've just sprinkled the Sweet Alice around the outside. So now I'll pop these ones in. Let's see. Cover with an inch. Okay. These, of course, we're not going to eat them. They're just for the beauty of it. And I do think there's something very worthwhile about deliberately creating spaces of beauty in your home. It feeds the soul. We were made for beauty. We were made for appreciating beauty. We've cheapened it, I think, cheapened it so much with this consumeristic, high-paced. I was trying to think of a word that described it. It's like we've plasticified our life, which I'm pretty sure is not a word, but just everything's plastic and cheap. And I mean, I'm not the plastic police. I use plastic. I try to use it sparingly and wisely, but my point being, it's like, I don't know, some of the, like, I have a hard time with plastic flowers. Now, they have their place, I'm sure, and if you are a lover of plastic flowers, go for your life. It's still providing some form of beauty, but there is just something about fresh, real flowers that, you know, I think they were given to us for our enjoyment and for the beauty of it. Well, I think I have definitely oversown. That actually is what I tend to do. I've just put this whole packet in here and I've created a little divot. I'm also really bad at getting this camera in the right spot. but I've just dug a little trench around and planted into the trench, and now I'm just going to cover it over. You wouldn't know it to look at. Just an empty pot full of seeds. All of that potential lying just below the surface. I can't wait to just water it and watch as it turns into something beautiful. Oh, look at that. Slightly messed up, but there is a little row of silver beet or Swiss chard. That's cool. So that kind of is coming up. The parsley, the thyme, the mixed flowers. Look at this. I am so excited. My little itty bitty teeny weeny little baby chamomiles. That's exciting. Any more? Oh, and more over here.
I don't see any more.
Maybe this
There's
might
like
be here
heaps
too.
here.
Yeah.
No, or everywhere. Just like here and here.
Yes. So I'm out the back now. I came out and set up my little table, my little seed table out here, and I was going to do sow some flowers into these pots, and I could have sworn I had another bag of potting mix and now I can't find it. So anyway, I have messaged my husband. He's in town to see if he can get me some, but I may have to do another backyard task, which there are hundreds, so that's not a problem. I will find something, but I'm going to sit here for a minute and finish my coffee before I do that. But I was just to complete that thought I was having before, and I actually think about this a lot. This plays into my decisions a lot, is the desire to create beautiful spaces, both inside my home and in the garden. And I want to grow food to feed my family. That is important to me. But I also, I would have a garden regardless, even if I couldn't or for whatever reason didn't grow food, I would want a garden. It is so refreshing to me and soul feeding to be in the garden. And I do think there is something so needful to the human spirit to be surrounded by, immersed in, exposed to God's beauty, the beauty of creation. And it's part of what is so beautiful about this life, and choosing to have my hands in the soil and have the children running around learning that too. And even just this morning, we came out early. We had some things going on early on the homestead, and so we're out here about 6:30. I made it outside about 7, and my daughter was swinging on the tree, under the oak tree, and I went out and pushed her for a little bit on the swing, and she was just laying back with her arms spread out, sort of gazing up through the leaves as it swung back and forward. And I thought, I remember one of my favorite things to do when I was little was either lay under a tree, climb a tree, or swing under a tree and look up through the foliage at the blue and the white puffy clouds and hear nothing but the rustle of the leaves and the birds. It's just so calming to the soul and beautiful. I love cooking. I love being in the kitchen, and for me, cooking 3 good meals for my family every day, almost every day, not quite, that's an act of love. That's something I love to do because I love my family and I want to provide that. It is a service that I love to provide for my family. But what feeds my soul is being in the garden, is being barefoot on the warm earth and the soft, cool grass, and planting or walking around plucking off the old dead roses, or even turning compost. Honestly, just being outside, I can breathe deeper. It frees my mind. I think clearer. And there is just something, I don't know, it's a magical quality that the garden has, that the forest has, that the bush has. When you walk through the bush, it's the same thing. But there's something particularly beautiful about being able to participate in that magic by growing things. And growing something beautiful as well as something useful, to me, is like the complete circle. And there's something missing when I don't do that. So I love to grow flowers. I'm really excited that these dipladenias, these little guys, have made it through the winter. So I will be popping them out and planting as many flowers through the garden. And of course they serve a purpose as pollinators, and the bees, they're so fantastic for the bees and help with pest pressure and things like that. But they're also just, they feed our souls, the human spirit. It's an amazing thing to contemplate, don't you think? Yeah, really important, really important. So easily lost in this helter-skelter, rush life. Need to take time to sit in the garden more often than we do, I think. Perhaps life would be a little less stressful